What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Start With Today podcast. My name is Jeff Schaefer, and I'm so excited that you decided to tune in today. For those of you who don't know, Start With Today was founded upon the idea that we can't go back and change our past. We can't look forward into the future and predict exactly what's to come and know every single step that we'll face along the way. But what we can do is take each day as a gift, enjoy the people God's placed in our lives, enjoy every moment, and most of all, take advantage of every opportunity He gives us. I can't wait to dive into today's episode. I hope it speaks to you, I hope it encourages you, and I hope you'll join us next week. So with that being said, let's jump in and let's start with today. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Start With Today podcast. I'm super stoked that you joined us again or joining us for the first time. Either way, I'm super glad to have you. Today, I'm really excited. We're going to be joined by our first guest. He's someone I've known since middle school, somebody I consider a really good friend, really fun, down-to-earth guy. He's a YouTube creator. He goes to Kent State. So everybody, welcome my friend Kevin Zuppe.
Hey, what's going on, Jeff? Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course, man. I'm glad you were able to come on. Then again, it's not like we have a bunch of stuff to do right now besides online school, but I'm glad we were able to make it happen. So I guess just start off by telling everybody a little bit about you, who you are, what you do. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, for sure. So like Jeff was saying, my name's Kevin Zuppe. I am finishing up my second year at Kent State University. I've known this kid since like what, sixth grade?
Yeah, sixth or seventh. I think, yeah, it was sixth grade.
Yes, science class, sixth grade. I've known this kid.
Crazy.
So we go way back. Yeah, so we've got some good memes there. And yeah, basically I do YouTube videos on the side. It's more of just a hobby right now, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So Jeff wanted to get some input, and I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked. So Kevin, he does, I guess vlogs would be the best way to put it, but there's a lot going on. He does a lot of the videos with guys we all hung out with in high school and still hang out with today. So it's super cool to kind of see everything they do together. So I guess I want to start off asking, what got you into YouTube? Like why that platform specifically? Why videos?
Yeah, pretty much just because I watched a ton of it. I would watch a bunch of YouTube. I mean, I've always been addicted to social media, I'd say, but YouTube is always something that I could just blow a ton of time on. And I would watch these videos and I would see how cool it was seeing like other people portray their lives like through video. And I saw like people hanging out with their friends, and I was like, you know what? I think I've got a pretty funny friend group. So like, what if I was just to bust out a camera and like, what I think we could make some entertaining videos. So, I just sort of went for it. And it took a while to get used to. Like, it was weird just like shoving a camera in everyone's faces at first, but like we're almost a year in now and everybody's sort of on board with it. So we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's super cool too. And I think those guys like Ronnie and TJ, they're just people who are just fun. Like they can just sit there and somebody's bound to say something funny or like do something funny. And that's just how they are. So I think having those people along with your creative ideas and you being the one with the camera, it creates some really cool and funny content for people.
They make it super easy. They make it super easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even just watching, like, I feel like a lot of it, even if, and I don't know, if there are certain things that are like planned or whatever, but it all seems so natural just because like, especially knowing those guys and knowing you, it just all seems so natural that there's never a question of like, oh man, they're trying to be too funny or I don't know. It just all flows. And I think it's really sweet.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. Starting off, there was a lot of planned out stuff. It was all just like mega clickbait, big skits and stuff like that. But like that was sort of just like what we like to do. So like we would try to make it sound natural, but like no, like most of it was just like planned out stuff. But it's still, I don't know. Hopefully it turned out all right.
No, it does. And that's the thing. Like I never would have guessed. I mean, unless like I talked to one of them or I talked to you and known something was like when we were at Ohio State, obviously it was like I was there. I was able to see, okay, kind of how stuff was set up or like what your angle was. But if you're not there, it looks so natural. I think it's super sweet. And kind of going off of that, who are your like, who do you get inspiration from YouTube? Who would you, if I've never watched your YouTube videos before, and I'm sure some people listening haven't, who would you compare your content to? Like what kind of videos are they? What could you expect out of a Kevin Zuppe vlog?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of all over the place, to be honest with you, because I'm still trying to find like the right traction in order to have the channel like gain some following. So I'm trying out a lot of different stuff. I'd say if you were to watch, well, starting off, like the person who made me really want to start YouTube was David Dobrik. I mean, I'm sure there's thousands of people who would say the exact same thing, and
Yeah.
he's the biggest creator on the platform. So, like more like sketched out, like skits uh, in a vlog. I got that sort of from him, but I wouldn't really compare it to him because he's just on a whole different level.
Yeah.
But I guess you could do some of that. But recently I've been doing like a little bit of reaction videos. You know, I know you're a Cody Co fan as well,
Yeah.
so I watch a ton of his videos. Um, and then I also watch this other guy named Justin Escalona he uploads daily vlogs like every single day.
Wow.
So I've been able to watch like and see how he goes about his days and how he's able to make each day a video. So I've been learning a lot from him too. Right now, I'd say if you were to tune into a video, it would be more of just a daily vlog, not a lot of skits, and just sort of hanging out with us, trying to find ways to find fun in quarantine. That's pretty much what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like you said, trying to find stuff to do in quarantine because there's not much to do. I mean, even parks at this point are like shut down besides like walking past it. So it's tough. And then I think even you see content creators like David Dobrik who haven't put anything out in I don't know what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah,
And
something like that.
so it's like you see those big guys who are maybe fiending a little bit just because of what's going on. And so I think it's sweet that you're able to still find ways to put out content, especially if, you know, like you said, you want to try and grow it a little bit if you can. And I think the most important thing, like you said, you're doing it as a hobby. I think you're doing it because it's fun. And I've talked to Ronnie too, and we said like it's just fun watching it. And it's not like you're doing, you know, you're completely changing your day-to-day lives to do this. It's just kind of like recording what's happening. And I think
Yeah,
keeping that in mind and doing it as a hobby and doing it for fun, you know, that makes it easier to grow because you never have to do anything that's dramatic or anything that's completely like, I don't know, fake to say, like just to put it into words. And so I think, especially just continuing to put stuff out during this quarantine or social distancing thing that we find ourselves in is just, I don't know, it's really important, especially just trying to grow it from where it's at. So I think it's awesome that you're doing that.
yeah,
Um,
it's definitely turning me. I think it's turning me into a better video creator too, because it's making me expand my horizons in ways that I really wasn't comfortable with doing before.
for sure.
Um, like before, like the whole state went on lockdown, I really wasn't doing any daily vlogs, and I really wasn't doing. I think I had done like one reaction video, but like now, like I'm pumping out like two vlogs and like maybe a reaction video a week. So actually, no, those numbers are inflated, but I'm still I'm trying to find like different ways just to sort of better myself on the platform, and I think the quarantine and stuff is helping me out a lot with that. So it's kind of, I mean, if you want to take a positive out of all of it, I guess that could be that.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. And I was kind of going to say too, obviously with the quarantine and all the schools, um, you know, being shut down and going to online for the rest of the semester. And I know obviously you had to come home from Kent State, and obviously I came back from OSU, and all of our friends, you know, some of whom were already here, others had to come home. But thinking about the college aspect, talk a little bit about the tour you guys went on, visiting the different colleges and what that was like, kind of doing so much within a short period of time.
Yeah, so a few videos back, we were actually uh, at Ohio State when we came up with this idea. We were at Ohio State at our buddy John's, and we were getting ready to go back home, and we were like, what if we were just, because we were thinking like we have a lot of fun visiting other schools, and I was just sort of threw out the idea. I was like, what if we did like a college tour? Like, what if we hit up like some of the biggest schools in the state all in one weekend? And I was kind of expecting like a little bit of like hesitation, but like nobody hesitated at all. They were all
Yeah.
just like, yeah. They're like, yeah, let's do it. And they're like, when can we do it? And I was like, let's do next weekend. So we like the next week, we got ready and we hit up Ohio State. What was it? A Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. Went to Ohio State Thursday, Cincinnati Friday, and then the University of Dayton on Saturday. So we did three
Jeez.
of the biggest schools in the state in 3 days. And I vlogged the entire thing. And it was like one of the best weekends that I think I've ever had. And it turned out to be a pretty good video. That video just passed 1,000 views today.
Yeah, and I was to say watching it too, it just seemed like everybody, I don't know, you guys all had fun, and again, like that group, like it's so easy to have fun, but it just seemed like everybody was, I don't know, I look at people like John and some people who are tend to be sometimes can be more like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like everybody was just kind of into it, and the video turned out great. So that was really
Yeah.
cool. I was just, that's why I asked. I was wondering what that was like to do, go, three different universities like that in such a small period of time. I'm
It was a
guessing.
lot of fun. You did not get a lot of sleep, but it was a lot of fun. We got to see a lot of our friends too. We stayed with all of our friends, so it was a cool experience. I mean, I had only been to Ohio State. I had never been to Cincinnati, nor have I been to Dayton. So it was a cool experience. We want to do more, but
Yeah,
then we got kicked out of school.
yeah.
So
Well, I think, yeah, that's definitely something, especially when school starts back up. I mean, that was a sweet video to watch, and I'm sure, like you said, it was fun to make. So I'm hopeful as a viewer that you'll do something like that again because it was awesome. Um, so kind of going off that, how you said, it was super fun, but you guys didn't get a lot of sleep. As far as content as a whole and making videos, what are some of like the ups and downs of producing and pushing out content? What are some of the, obviously the good things, and then what are some of the more challenging aspects of catering to an audience, or just pushing out content?
yeah, so the biggest thing is like if I was just to not push out content, like it would be okay. Like people wouldn't be upset because like I still have a pretty small following. So like really it's all just like me wanting to grow the channel. Like and so I kind of push myself to do it.
Yeah.
Um that's like the biggest thing is like because at first I started out putting out like a video a month and I was like, there's no way I could put out more videos than this. And then I upped it to like a video every 2 weeks and I was like, this is like the most I can do. And then I hit like a video a week, and I was like, "There's no way I could top this." And now I'm doing 2 to 3 a week. So it's really just me just pushing myself. I mean, at first I would think it would be pretty hard to push out content like that, but like the more you do it, the easier it gets, um, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I feel like that's definitely an up of pushing out new videos and stuff like that. Is like I'm getting better every single time, and the more you put out, the faster you're gonna get better.
Oh, for sure.
The downside is coming up with new ideas and
Yeah.
like not having it be repetitive. Because like, I mean, dude, we live in Ohio, so there's not that much we can do. So like, I don't know, especially during quarantine, it's like you go to the park and that's the only time you can really see your
Well,
friends.
especially where we're at too in Canton, there's always like, I don't know, there's just not much to do. Like it's the same.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna do the same thing twice. I feel like at least once a week, you're gonna repeat something, whether not even just
Oh,
in a
yeah.
video, just in general, because there's nothing to do. And especially now, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap of just doing the exact same thing every day, which
Absolutely.
is which is an upside of doing videos is because like it keeps me out of doing that, like staying at home all day and doing nothing. I want to go try to find something new to do for a
Yeah.
video. That's definitely a positive of doing all this.
Yeah, that's sweet. And I think, like you said, especially like where it's easy for, especially now for us to just want to sit in the house, and that kind of keeps you going as far as, you want to go find something to film or get out of the house or whatever that may look like. And I would say too, like, obviously this is like my first kind of creative endeavor, or whatever you want to call it. And even just leading up
Yeah.
to, at the time we're recording this, the first episode's not out yet, and I'm still waiting for it to be approved by Apple. And it's like, even prior to that, I mean, I went through 2.5 weeks of getting the equipment set up, going through somebody doing graphics, waiting for the intro music to get done. I mean, there's a lot that goes into producing any kind of content, I feel like, and especially even editing a podcast, which is pretty easy to edit. And then I think about what when you edit a video, like that's got to take a little bit of time. And it's just crazy. I don't think, when it comes out, a finished product, it sounds good, it looks good, and people don't really think of the work that goes in behind the scenes. But like, even just starting this, and then talking to you and talking to some of the guys in the group, like the work that goes in behind the scenes, I think is what truly makes things like this so awesome, is realizing like the passion behind it and how much the creator wants to put into it. And I've seen that in your videos, and heard you talk about what you put into it. And just on my end, knowing how much I've been trying to grind and get this ready to go, it's kind of cool just from a creator side, the things you'll do and the work you'll put in when you have an idea and kind of want to push it out there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's what you're gonna learn pretty quickly through all this is like with this podcast coming out, you're starting to see all the work that goes in behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna see any of that. They're only gonna hear the actual recording, and so they can sit down and enjoy the podcast and seeing people like it and seeing getting good feedback from all the stuff that you did behind the scenes. That's one of the most like successful feelings
Yeah,
that like I could really describe. It's because you only all the stuff you put into it,
absolutely.
and the same goes for videos, but it's also the complete same for this podcast is like all the work you put into it, and just like it's I don't even know how I'm trying to describe it, but like the people only see one aspect,
Absolutely. Yeah. They see the finished
So,
product. They don't see the process
and
that goes into it. And
yeah, and the only person who knows the whole process is like you. So
yeah.
it's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah. And so kind of going off that, when it comes to, the audience and like at least so my podcast is obviously like how important my faith is to me. And so it's based on my faith and kind of just learning to take each day as a blessing. And in the Lord's Prayer it says, give us this day our daily bread, and just kind of depending on God to give me or each of us what we need just for that specific day. And so I think going off of that, my goal is obviously I want to reach as many people as possible. But if I'm reaching one person and making them smile, or if they hold on to one word, and in your case if your video reaches one person and makes them smile or they're going through something, I think
Yeah.
on our end it's like if we reach one person and have that like knowing that we can help somebody, I think that's a really rewarding thing as well. And so kind of going off that, like I said, this podcast is mostly founded on my faith, and this isn't obviously like an episode like today I'm not gonna give a message or anything like that. But as far as just who I am, my faith plays a very important role in my day to day and kind of how I go about life. So I was going to ask you, because I've known you for a while and I know how important your faith is to you and your family. So how does that, especially at the age we're at now, where I feel like it's very easy to fall away from that, how does that still help you stay grounded and kind of live your day to day?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, my faith is super important to me. And, the biggest thing with me is just having that man in your corner. You know what I'm saying? So every single day, there's going to be ups and downs and, there's going to be unexpected turns, but keeping my faith with me and like keeping God in my corner always gives me like a sense of certainty, that like whatever, no matter how bad something is, uh, it'll be okay. And like obviously times are really bad right now.
Yeah,
But like as long as you have Him with you and you keep your faith with you, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you know that His plan's going to work out. And that's the other thing is day to day I just try to follow God's plan for me, and I know
absolutely.
that He has a plan for me, and you know what, like, as long as I'm doing what I can to follow that plan, everything's gonna be okay, because, like, if I put my faith into Him, I know that He's got, He's got the path for me, He's gonna take care of me.
Absolutely.
So it's a sense of comfort, and it's also just, like, it's fun to watch His plan play out, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, like, um if you think say if you go through something bad, you go through a bad breakup, you're dealing with the coronavirus,
Yeah.
maybe not personally, but like in quarantine and stuff, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, man, this is terrible, like I can't see how things would get better, but then like one day you just sort of um see His plan play out for you, and that's what keeps you going. And like staying in constant prayer with Him and just like in communication, that's all really important to me. And it's almost like just a cool journey to be on, and that's always sort of how I felt. And that's pretty much why my faith is so important to me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like you said, especially this season where I think a lot you see in the media and there's other people who don't have that relationship with God, and they kind of their go-to is to worry, where I think, when you do have a good relationship with God and your faith, you are grounded in your faith, is like you said, you see that light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, you know what, this may not be ideal right now, and this may not be what I expected, but it's like we have the opportunity now to be a blessing in other people's lives, or to, in this case, like I got to start something with this podcast that I don't know if I would have had time to do if it wasn't
Yeah.
for this season. And so it's kind of just taking a more positive look on it, knowing that this isn't going to, this isn't going to stop us. This isn't going to define us, because God is in our corner. And so I think you hit it right on the head. So kind of talking about the season of quarantining and social distancing we find ourselves in, for me personally, I just kind of I guess I've learned now how important, not that family wasn't important to me before, but just like spending time and actually being present with them has been something that's kind of hit home for me in this season. Something I feel like I got caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and missed out on. So for you, what are some things, or maybe even just one thing that you've learned in this season that maybe you were missing out on before?
Well, I've pretty much learned that everything that was going on prior to this, it's not what defines you. It's not the most important thing in the world, because I feel like this whole season has sort of brought everybody down to basics. Um, and it shows you like what you really need. And to me, one of the most important things is my family. So I've learned that my family is like what's always going to be there, no matter how crazy the storm gets. So I'm spending great time with my family, and I'm also learning just to stay positive, every single day. Don't ever really get down on yourself. Don't think, oh, this is the end of the world, but just like find ways to stay positive throughout the day. And, maybe teach yourself something new, like you starting this podcast. There's endless positive things that you can take out of this time. It may
Absolutely.
not seem like it, but
Yeah.
if you have the right mindset like you do, you can really turn this into a great experience and a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different things that you can do if you just have the right mindset. Don't really just lay around in bed all day. I mean, sure, you can sleep in if you want. Why not? But like, if you come with the right mindset, and that's what I'm trying to do every day, you can really turn it into a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so good. And so kind of the last thing I want to ask as we wrap this up is, obviously the podcast is called Start With Today. And like I talked about, kind of taking each day as a gift, and finding, each day is going to bring its own challenges. It's also going to bring its own opportunities. And so trying to make the most of whatever God hands us that day. And so for the last question, why do you think it's so important to kind of have that mindset and to live day by day? And how has that helped you in life?
Yeah, it is super important to live every day like on its own. Because well, I'm pretty sure the Bible says tomorrow's not promised to anybody.
Yeah,
So living each day as its own little journey is sort of your way of making the most of each day. No day will go to waste. Because if you're banking on the future, you never know what the future holds, and that's sort of what I look at it as. Because maybe with the video creation that I'm doing right now, it's like you can't really plan ahead. Like, why not get it done today when it's
absolutely.
today? Why wait? Um, so it's just important, I guess, to look at each day as its own little mission, as its own little journey. And because tomorrow it's not promised to anybody. You don't know what's going to happen when the sun comes up the next day, and nobody does. um, you couldn't really predict all of the corona stuff going on right now. Nobody was ready for that. So you sort of just have to take each day as its own and just try to make the best out of each one. And that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's so good. Well, Kev, I appreciate you taking the time to come on today. It's been
Yes,
super
sir.
cool to obviously dive in a little bit more. And obviously I know you and know kind of what you're doing, and but to share that with other people. And obviously I want to do what I can on my end to, share what you're doing with people, because I think it's awesome. I think it's positive, and I think it's what this world needs right now. So, with that being said, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the Start With Today podcast. I want to thank Kevin for coming on. All his social medias and his YouTube channel will be linked in the descriptions and on our social media pages. Obviously, if it'll let us put it, some of the captions and stuff, don't let us type links, but hopefully it will work so you guys can check his stuff out. It's awesome. I wanted to take a sec to address the audio quality. I know there's a significant difference from the first episode to this one, and that's just because, unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 crisis and the social distancing guidelines, we had to do the interview over Zoom, and I'm very thankful we were still able to do it, but that did cause a little bit of audio quality issue. So I hope you were able to listen past that and take something out of the conversation. Hopefully encouraged you, inspired you, or even just made you laugh. I know this season that we're in still, we don't know when it's going to end or, what it's going to look like when it does end. But just wanted to remind everybody to just take each day by itself, look for the opportunities, look for the good in each day. And if you start with today, I promise that we'll look back when this is all over and realize how much we learned and how we can use that in the rest of our lives. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and I can't wait to talk to you next Monday.